Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. May this be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. As we await our first guests to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as being a welcoming environment open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, ethnicity, etc. Hello, lectors. Welcome. You are very early. I would love for us and everyone who comes to embrace each other as fellow students of life, here to uplift one another, share positive sentiments, and relate in one another's experiences. Hello, Dale York. Welcome. I hope you are well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And I trust those who are joining now to be as well as they can, given whatever they may be going through, emotionally, physically, situationally. You know, there are many people around the world going through hardship at this time, and I hope you know that my heart is with you. Hello, Sophia. Welcome. Seems I've got the glitch again on my end, where all of your comments are doubled, so your voice is twice as loud today, which I think is beautiful. And hello, Rob B. Thank you for blessing us so early on with a rose. Hello, Phoenix. Where have my Manjira gone? I always lose them. Oh, here they are. Since I have so many guests already, I have a question of the day for you all, if you are interested. Today I'm asking, what has given you the most purpose? And thank you, Starlight Wow, for your flowers. Hare Krishna. And Nish, thank you for your pair of music plays. Om Namah Shivaya. And hello, Chaoshi. Chaoshe. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce your name. Ciao. And thank you for sharing your blessings, Phoenix. Phoenix, you share that you think it's obvious that your choices give you purpose. I love that. It's good. I'm happy that you feel empowered in your choices. Ray, you share, you guess it's the process of finding out who you are. Very profound and powerful that is. Starlight, wow, you share, your beautiful kids give you the most purpose in life. You are a good parent for putting them first. Defeating entropy, shares Shy. Well, good luck with that. Hello, witness of beauty. I am happy to witness your beauty today, and thank you for sending your hand hearts. Here's some for you too. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jade Goblin, you share the people and animals in your life have brought you purpose. I'm happy to hear that. Phoenix, you share that you're choosing to have a surprise party for someone tomorrow. That gives you purpose. I love that. Sometimes it's the little things. And I imagine for whoever is the party is being thrown for, it'll be a very big thing for them in the moment. Anthony O'Brien, you share your son. I love that. Sarah, you share tending to the land. Well, you are very good at that. And hello. And thank you, Anthony, for your heart me. Hare Krishna. Lauren the Enigma, you share the small things in life. The sun on the trees. A little dog tippy taps as it walks on a road. That's so sweet. You have an eye for the precious little things. Heh, you share that trying to find your purpose is your purpose. It's very purposeful to even go in search of one, isn't it? Beans on toast, you share your children. Good, good. Oh, a lizard is walking by. Hello, lizard. I see that you have a new tail. I think one of my cats has eaten your old one. Hi. Your family shares Bailey. I love that. Sarah, you share also wind. Wind gives you purpose. Wind on the treetops, so I hear. And thank you, Vanessa, for your heart me. Hare Krishna. It's a real life tiny diny, it is. Oh my gosh, she's even closer now. Hi, you're right below me. I wonder if you can stay there long enough. No, as soon as I move my hands, he's like, I'm out of here. I wanted to move my phone so you could see him. And hello, Michael Taylor. Thank you for your good wishes. And thank you, Dagger, for your rose. Ah, you pierce my heart with your rose like a nice dagger. I love a nice dagger. Thank you. Chao Shi, you share making others smile and giving them a safe space to vent. That's beautiful. And I hope the plane flying overhead isn't too loud for you. Are you mad? You share that you love people, studying and trying to understand different traits and behaviors. I love that. Oh, Danielle, you share that making TikToks gives you some strange sense of purpose. You have a voice, and you definitely deserve to be heard. In Church of Yoke, you share the feeling when you wake up from a peaceful sleep. Oh, I like that. Holly May Opossum, you share healing the generational trauma in your family. That's very purposeful. And Bailey, you share that you lost one son. He also gives you purpose. I imagine. That's very powerful. And Kelly O'Brien, you share that you are a healer, mainly working on animals, and you get so much joy from that. I'm happy to hear that. Ray, you are wondering, what's my purpose? What gives me the most purpose? For me, right now, sitting with you all, listening to all of your purposes, like fills me with purpose. So thank you for letting me be audience to that. Thank you, Anthony. Are you mad? You share that people are so complex and different, but also the same. It's beautiful. We are both diverse as we are unified. We are diverse in our unity and unified in our diversity. And I like that, Biggie Cheese, very meta. Discovering your purpose gives you the most purpose. Jai, you share your conscious gives you purpose. Good, good. And Dan, you share providing for the family. A classic. An oldie but a goodie. Noor, you share that you always wonder how I was when I was a child. You probably don't want to know. I was and still am a wild child. And I have gone through a lot in order to become as peaceful as I am. You probably wouldn't wanted to have been friends with me. Oh, anyway, thank you for sharing this moment with me as we explore the question of purpose. And hello, hey tonight. Ohio. That's a state. Or is it? Hi, Vsauce, Michael here. And Isabella, you share your kids. Good people. I love that. Thank you, hey tonight, for your rose. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Isabella, thank you for your rose too. Jai Sitaram. Alright, I would like to do a short reading with you all, and then we can open the space to discuss whatever it is you wish to discuss. We are almost done reading this book together. In fact, we only have a few paragraphs left of this final chapter, and then there's an afterword too. Let's see here. I think I made a mistake in where I left my bookmark. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I think we can finish this book in this actually, I don't know, the afterword's kind of long. Okay, we'll finish the chapter and we'll read part of the afterword. This will be the second to last part, I guess. This section of the last chapter is called A Mother, a Master, Unforgettable, and it is the final section of the final chapter. My mother walked into the hospital room just as Vinaji was getting off a call with her family. This is a flashback to long ago in this book where our author Yogi was in the hospital talking to a very wise old woman, Vinaji, who shared the room. Before most doctors and nurses made it to their shifts that morning, Mom had mustered the energy to shovel the driveway and dig her car out from underneath 15 inches of snow. The only other person whom I had heard from earlier that morning was my guru, Swami Shri, who had asked the sadhus, the monks, to call and check on the results of my latest diagnostic testing. He ended the call by encouraging me to regain my strength and composure and return to my graduate studies. I was upset at Mom for driving during the blizzard. She apologized and promised not to do so again. She knew that it made me feel less guilty. I watched her lovingly open the tiffin, releasing aromas that filled our room and the rest of the floor. She allowed me to think that I was doing her a favor by accepting the warm upma, roasted semolina cooked with ghee, clarified butter, and lentils. She enjoyed watching me pick at the finely diced bell peppers. Mom shared some with Vinaji and offered it to a few of the nurses. I admired how easy she made it look, even though she was unwell. Vinaji looked at me from across the room and pointed to my mother. See what I mean? You are lucky to have such guardians in your life. My mother was too busy feeding the nurses to hear her. Vinaji was right. I slept better knowing that I had someone looking over me and looking out for me. My hair. I was at ease because they were there, my guru and my mother. In the coming years, I watched my mother take on a grave illness with a smile and an ease of acceptance. She had also benefited from my guru's lessons on welcoming the next chapter. Nothing I did could match the effortless enthusiasm and tenderness with which she had cared for me and laughed with me, but she showed immense gratitude for the little seva that I did do. I watched and learned. Since then, I have been fortunate enough to learn from many mothers around me. A young mother in the community who raised a special needs child while working as an attorney and volunteering more than 12 hours a week. An elderly community leader who had no children of her own but guided hundreds of young men and women as they flourished in their careers and on the spiritual path. Another elderly woman who encouraged both of her boys to serve as monks while she kept serving through the community's social and humanitarian initiatives. A high school friend who raised herself and her 2 siblings before raising her 3 sons as a single parent and at once providing for her family and dozens of others by running a successful business. And a young mother of a newborn who let her husband travel to a war zone to assist in BAPS's humanitarian efforts. Good evening, Lando. Most recently, it was there, at the Ukraine-Poland border, that I encountered a young mother who had carried her child on her shoulders for 7 straight days. When I asked if I could take some of the weight off her shoulders, she smiled and said, "This is not weight. This is my daughter." I asked for how long she could keep going with her daughter on her shoulders. She was at ease, for as long as it takes to get her to safety. All these mothers had one thing in common. They continued to give and guard, but with smiles and laughter that inspired others. Vinaji was right again. There is something about motherhood that helps one find the strength to be at ease. If not for oneself, then for one's children. It was an ease that I and millions of others had experienced with my guru. Swami Shri's all-embracing, eyeless, selfless, complete love. The guru nurtures, loves, and provides for all of creation. He equally sees the divine in all of his children. It was this ease that allowed Swami Shri to fulfill so many roles in so many lives. I recalled the first Sanskrit verse that I had recited in front of my guru. Gurur Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Bharam Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Which translates to, Guru is the creator, Guru is the upholder, Guru is the liberator, Guru is God manifest, to that Guru I bow. Swami Shri shared Sahajanand's organic bliss with all of his quote-unquote children, and he wanted very little in return. He wanted his bhaktas to transcend the human condition and attain moksha, spiritual transcendence. He also wanted them to enjoy the journey, to smile and laugh along the way. I rushed into Swami Shri's room in London before my flight back to New York. I was late and did not want to miss my flight. I told him that I was going home and that I would not enjoy being home after traveling with him over the last few months. Swami Shri reminded me, Ma ema bija vagda nava. A mother is a mother. Mothers, the rest are the wind off a barren land. A mother is a mother, the rest are the wind off a barren land. No one can give like a mother. Mothers love effortlessly. They put their children at ease. But you have also given and loved me unconditionally, I retorted. He looked into my eyes and said, Exactly. No one will give you like a mother. Enjoy and relieve these interactions when we are apart. They will bring you joy and stability. Do not forget. A child can feel the mother's presence when she is away and long after she is gone. I still feel and experience Swami Shri's love today, his humanly divine hand on my back. Millions do. And when I needed a reminder, he sent one. And with that, we conclude the final section of the final chapter of this book. There is an afterword, and I think we can read that next time. So I thank you, my dear viewers, for going along this journey with me as we've read these 352 pages together, just a couple every day at a time. And thank you for listening. Hello, Fiji water bottle. Welcome. Now we can really open the floor to discuss whatever you wish to discuss. Thank you, green eggs and fried beans. Nope, fried brains. Big difference. Thank you for your heart meat. Jai Swaminarayan. And Trenchant Luminescence. Thank you for your heart meat. And 22 team bracelets. Aw. Jane, you share you'd like to read it to your mother, who is at the end of life. It's a beautiful book, and I'm sure that many mothers can relate to the idea of having the purpose of giving so selflessly to their children, that they can bear so much weight if it means their children do not have to. Jane, you had wondered, what is the reference for his guru's reading of meeting the next chapter? Life has many chapters. Death is not the end of the book, but the beginning of another chapter. That's a fun question, Mr. Astrolabe. How does Krishna show humility? In the Bhagavad Gita, here's an example for you. Oftentimes, after he says something to Arjuna, at the end of it, he follows it up with, "This is my opinion." And that's something I love about the concept of God in Hinduism, is that they're their own person. They have their own opinions. God doesn't have commandments for you in Hinduism, just opinions. And you're entitled to have different opinions from God, because you are an individual sentient being just like God. And God has empowered you to have free will just as God has free will. Of course, our dominion of free will is very small. God's dominion is very big. And of course, if we listen to his opinion, things will probably work out, but we don't have to, and that's something really beautiful. I think that's an example of Krishna's humility. He always says, "This is my opinion." And thank you, Peter Schaefer, for your rose. Hare Krishna. Jake, you asked an interesting question while we were reading. Does a man's soul get to experience life as a mother in different lives? Absolutely. In fact, it's one of the vows of a bodhisattva, is they view all beings as their mother, because all beings have been each other's mother in at least one lifetime. Pardon me for my hiccups. Yes. We all get to experience the joy of being a mother. And my soul knows that your soul was my mother in one lifetime. And for that, I still am thankful. And thank you, Eileen, for your rose too. Hari Om Tat Sat. That's very interesting, Hector. What if life and death was happening simultaneously? Well, every day that we live, we also die, don't we? We are both living and dying, since each day we come closer to our death, just as we come closer to the fullest expression of life. Radhe Radhe. Hello, Magdalene. I like your question, Emma. What are my thoughts on fried squash? I don't know if I've had fried squash, so I thank you for planting the seed. Valerie, hello. You're wondering about not being able to fulfill your dream. Oh. You're wondering about not being able to fulfill your dream. Well, is there any way to make 1 + 1 = 3? Not possible. The way the rules of piano arithmetic work, 3 is by definition the successor of 2. And 2 is by definition the successor of 1. Only 1 + 1 can make 2. No other number. Similarly, you have only been given dreams that are achievable for you. Sometimes we have to put them into a more realistic context. We can change the context of our dream and exactly what it means to feel fulfilled. But there's nothing that you set your heart out to that you cannot achieve. That's funny, demons of TikTok. Unless you snap 1 in half, well, then you just get 1 + 1/2 + 1/2. It's delicious, you share, Emma. We'll have to try fried squash then. That's interesting, Sasha. I'm afraid I don't know who the person you're speaking about is, but I'm happy that I remind you of music. Linda, you share that everything has an order, but sometimes you feel like you are in. You are in what, Linda? Oh, Alice in Wonderland. There's the second comment. Yes. Though this world has many laws, just as many laws, there are exceptions to those laws. Hello, Maya. Now, thank you, loving vegans we are, for your rose. Hare Krishna. And Sasha, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hello, other Maya. We got Maya Dogaimer, maybe. And we've got Maya Kamarata. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. And thank you, Pheromone, for your heart me and trio of finger hearts. I think I can make a trio of finger hearts with my 2 hands. Here we are. Om Namah Shivaya. Hello, Trisha. Hello, Dali. Hello, Rayana. Lando, you're wondering, do I ever wonder about God/Krishna outside Saguna or as Nirguna, outside these laws and orders? Of course. Parabrahman is undeniably Nirguna Brahman. It is out of nothingness that everything arises. That is Krishna's ultimate form, as that which is not. A nothing so not, it was not even nothing. A void so vacuous. A vacancy so vacant. That nothing was stopping it from becoming everything. However, nothingness is not something that's personal. It's hard to relate with nothingness, unless you're feeling really empty, I guess. For most people, a personal form of God is needed for a connection. So we personify that divinity as a human-like form with 2 arms, 2 legs, maybe 4 arms, 4 legs, maybe 10 heads, Make it a little more divine than human, but anyway. As long as there's some human element there, we can connect to it. Our intermediary between the human level and the ultimate. Hello, Redhead Rage. Hello, Chloe. You share you've had a rough afternoon. I feel you. That's okay. Well, you're welcome to be here regardless. Lando, you share that you break your brain trying to think of Krishna's incomprehensible attributes. You are doing Nama-Rupa then perfectly. It is said in this age of Kali, the one way to cross the ocean of Maya, material existence, is to do Nama-Japa. Nama means name, Japa means repetition. A name for the divine is not merely an identifier like we humans use. It refers to some quality. And the ultimate doesn't just have little qualities. The ultimate has unlimited, infinite qualities. Just reminiscing on those, like omniscience, omnipresence, omnibenevolence, omnipotence, all these omni-qualities. We just merge into that infinite. We expand our consciousness and we dive deep into the ocean of reverence. That's the sound of our Atman merging with Brahman. Hitting the ocean, making a big splash. Oh, and thank you, Trisha. All the same back to you. As you are a bright light in the lives of so many. I know this. Hello, G to infinity. Thank you for your wonderful mantra. Om Kring Kali Gae Namaha. And thank you, K2, for your rose. Om Dum Dargae Namaha. And John F. Thank you for your community fast. Pheromone, you share that when you first read teachings from Krishnamurti, you instantly had a feeling of being understood. I love that. There's something so wonderful about Eastern teachings, is that they don't seek to tell us the way things are beyond our understanding. They speak to give voice to our deepest understanding that had no voice. To put words to the most sacred part of our experience that no one else could put words to. Hello, Tiger. You have changed your name? Kais Karim. Welcome. Kaylee, you ask, what is the difference between people who know these things and people who don't? Well, people who know these things don't know. But people who don't know, know. It's your real name? Well, thank you. I am sure that your tiger-like qualities are very real too. And hello, Morella Pru. Lando, you share that's how you felt with Sri Ganapati after much rock bottoming. That's a great verb, rock bottoming and soul searching. Rather than commanding and instructing me dogmatically, he patted the space beside him invitingly. Such poetic words you've chosen. I love that. And thank you, Kais Karim, for your 36 roses. If I count that up, right? Lectors, you're wondering, where am I from? You feel I was just randomly birthed out of Mother Earth. Well, I suppose that's true if we consider my biological mother as part of my divine mother as well. But she birthed me out in a hospital room in Calgary, Alberta, which is in Canada. And then now I live on the west coast of Canada. Aw. Jake, you share It really is sad, and you argue in your mind constantly about how much value you place on material things. The most we can do for ourselves is allow ourselves to be at where we're at right now. Because then how can we choose the best path forward that accommodates where we're at? If we deny the state of being we are in currently, then how will we know our next step forward? Yes, there are so many problems in our mind, but we'd only be adding to the problems by making a problem out of the problem. You know what I mean? We can have a mistake. That's one thing. But then feeling guilty and beating ourselves up over the mistake, that's another thing. So it benefits us from forgiving ourselves and moving on so that we can finally learn from these mistakes without holding ourselves back by being weighed down by them. And I love that reminder, Trisha. Try to remember you came into this world with nothing and leave with nothing. Love, kindness. I love that, busy bee. Grow where you are planted. Karma cat, you share we are neighbors. We are all neighbors. We are all brothers and sisters, too, on the planet. Same planet. Same home. Lando, for how much rock bottoming you did, it became a verb for you. I feel you there, my friend. Thank you, Kais Karim, for your disco love, your pair of finger hearts, and your pair of tiny tinies. Yippee! Your 100 roses, and a whole galaxy. That is very kind of you, my friend. I am very humbled to know that any part of this live is worth that much to you. I'm only grateful to be able to be a mirror for all the good inside you. Jai Sachitanandam. Victory to existence, consciousness, and bliss. Oh, I like that too, Dark Knight. Come into this world with a beautiful ray of light and leave with a beautiful light. I love that too. Ultra Marlite. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You share one truth throughout all religions is to treat others as we wish to treat ourselves. A beautiful reminder. The golden rule, it is called. And thank you, Kais Karim, for your 40 roses. 46, in fact. Oh, I've done it again. I've made a pseudo knot. Sometimes in life, feels like we've knotted ourselves in trouble, but with a little effort, it unravels. Oh, thank you, Night Owl. Thank you, Lando, for your sacred number of 108 roses. 1 to the 1 times 2 to the 2 times 3 to the 3 worth of them, in fact. A super factorial of tetrations. In fact. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And thank you, He, for your 9 roses. I love that, Starlight. Wow. The golden rule needs to be applied deeply, not just to politeness, but also to wealth, etc. We have resources of love and kindness, but physical resources as well. That which we can share in order to help both the mind and body. Amir Kitty, you ask, do I ever get angry? Sometimes in my life, Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten angry on a live, though. It's hard when I'm surrounded by so many wonderful people. I can't be angry with you all. My anger threshold is very high. But that also means when I do get angry, I get really angry. And in the times that I have gotten really angry, I ended up hurting someone that I loved. And so I've been really humbled by my own anger and the effects that it caused, and it's really difficult for me to get angry when I know how capable I am of hurting others. Aw, thank you, spread the gospel. You are Christian, but you love my way of thinking or perspective, and you're trying to see any tips. Well, I love the fact that you're open to my perspective, and I want to affirm to you that I love the path that you're already on. Christianity is such a beautiful path if you commit to it with humility and loving kindness. The words of the Christ hit deep, and they are inscribed on your very heart. Continue to take refuge in the words of Jesus, and you certainly shall be saved. For me, I am not one to give you a substitute for your current belief system. For everyone here, hear this, that since we are all trying to get to the highest height, we may take to the top of the mountain in different roads. But as long as we feel ourselves getting higher, then it means that we are on our way to the top. And once we all are at the top, we will laugh, because though some took the western path, some took the eastern path, some took the northern, some took the southern, some spiraled around till they got to the top, we all end up reaching the same place. And then, hello, Gina. Thank you for your community fest and rose. Radhe oh Radhe. Hello, Third Eye Willie. Thank you for sharing your blessings, fellow yogi. Omar, you're wondering, can I share about why, what, when, etc. I had in that video? Oh, I'm glad you remember that. Yes, long ago, many moons ago, I had made a video about the question words. What, when, why, how, who, and where. They're beautiful words, aren't they? I think they make one-word poems. They each kind of have an opening to them. What isolates the object? Where and when isolate the spatial and temporal context? Who isolates the subject? Why isolates where it leads? And how isolates from where it has come? When we ask these questions, what, where, who, why, how, when, then we get a full picture. We can ask ourselves this at any time to really put ourselves at our center. Who am I? What am I? Where am I? When am I? Why am I? How am I? And the answer to these questions are so simple. Where am I? I am here. When am I? I am now. Who am I? I am. Why am I? Because. How am I? Happy. Hello, dear Christy. Aw, Trisha, you share that when one does good without thought, then it truly comes from the heart. Beautiful way to live. I concur, Trisha. Beth, you share that you like to think we're all God. We're all one, experiencing life through different bodies. That is a secret truth that awaits long study of sacred scriptures. It's called the Mahavakya, the great sentences awaiting us at the end of spirituality. What if the whole reason God wanted us to fall in love with Him was for the big reveal that you are God, and therefore you really are worthy of love. You are capable of loving yourself because you are able to prove that by loving God as if you were separate. And then once you merge with that divinity, you become one with all of that love that you have invested in that source. But until then, we can continue to love the separation just as we love the unity. Thank you, Anna, for your rose. Radhe o Radhe. Ultra Maralit, thank you for your Cloud Bread and Community Fest. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And Imp Kitty, thank you for your Heart Me and Quartet of Roses. Om Shrim Mahalakshmaya Namaha. And thank you, Starlight Wow, for your half a dozen tinies. Yippee! And Marina, thank you for your Quartet of Roses. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, Chloe. Heh, you ask, if expectations lead to disappointment, how do you learn not to have expectations? Even this is one. Very wise. No one can escape their own expectations. It's not actually the expectations themselves that lead to disappointment. It's our attachment to them. For example, a doctor will perform life-saving surgery, and they expect that this treatment is effective. That's why they're doing it. So you cannot live without expectations. But there is a way to minimize our attachments to the results, to the outcomes of those expectations. Like every morning, we can expect to do our best. But if we can't, that's okay. We're allowed to be disappointed in our own expectations. But as long as we've made peace with the outcome, then there's no problem there. So there is a subtle difference between an expectation and an attachment. Expectations are natural, but attachments are not necessarily. Attachments we associate with and end up getting ourselves in trouble. So effort is required on that front. Paravidya, higher knowledge is one way to ensure that our attachments don't give us grief. Higher knowledge is Atmavidya. Paravidya Atmavidya is the Sanskrit saying. It means higher knowledge is self-knowledge. Higher knowledge affirms that what you are is not something that can be affected by an outcome, no matter how good or bad. So we can make peace with the outcome with higher knowledge as it instructs us that we are one inseparable reality that cannot be affected by material events or circumstance. Therefore, no matter what occurs to us, even if we are suffering, we are not truly being affected at our deepest level. Such is why we can hit rock bottom, but still have the possibility of peace. That it can't get any worse sometimes, but yet, peace is always an option. Guys, Karim, you're wondering if I can tell you all something about celibacy and consciousness. In Sanskrit, there's no word that translates to celibacy, but sometimes we do translate one word, or interpret it rather, and that's Brahmacharya. Literally, it does not mean celibacy. Literally, Brahma means ultimate, and Acharya means the way or the path of. So Brahmacharya means the way of the ultimate. So it's not a moral thing to do or not do. There's something really interesting about Hinduism is that it doesn't really have a concept of sin. There's no morality associated with each action. There are consequences, absolutely, but those are natural. That's called karma. But if we want to accelerate ourselves on the spiritual path, there are certain things we can do to constrain our energy from being released. Like the sexual energy is a huge, huge release of energy. And there's nothing morally wrong with that unless you are taking away someone's well-being in the process. Then there will absolutely be consequences. But that's besides the point of Brahmacharya, the way of the ultimate. This ability in humans to bring life into the world, that's a powerful energy associated with sexuality. So if we can channel it in a different way, we can become very powerful. It is said that just by retaining your sexual energy, it begins to channel up and become something called ojas, vitality. And your memory becomes sharper, your speaking becomes that much more, their words just hit each other's heart deeper. That every other aspect of your being just gets energized. So it's less of something you should or shouldn't do, but something you can do for a very powerful spiritual journey. Now, how does that relate to consciousness? Well, a huge part of our consciousness is eaten up by searching for sexual pleasure. And again, this is not a moral argument as this is a bad thing or not, but it is a fact that we use so much of our energy looking for a sexual experience. What if we used that energy to free up our consciousness? Just like someone who's blind has often much sharper hearing or sense of taste or smell, other more spiritual senses can increase in this way. Thank you, Chris, for your rose a minute ago. Radhe Radhe. And Dob Darker, thank you for your heart me. And thank you, Tatavamasi, for your quintet of roses. Jai Nisargadatta. I love that, Phoenix. Maybe the word sin means fighting the flow rather than aligning. I see the truth in that, absolutely. In my understanding, besides things not to do, what is a sin, what is not a sin? Sin simply means being separate from God, and therefore that which separates you from your own divinity is considered sin. And it's not that some actions are punished, but it's that when you do perform actions that align you, your suffering naturally gets alleviated if you align yourself with that source. And what does that practically mean? Because these are a lot of technical terms that it can be used in very vague ways. Let's make it practical. I love that redhead rage. In fact, sin originally meant miss the shot. What are we missing? We are missing that the source of our consciousness is the consciousness of our source. They are inseparable. We often hear that this funny word we call God, it has a quality to it called omnipresence, which means it's within everything. That quality is the consciousness existing in all beings. We have a limited sense of consciousness because we have a limited body which amplifies, reflects that consciousness, but that consciousness is directly a piece of that source, that omnipresent source. Source is pure consciousness. That's why some Christian mystics simply call it Christ consciousness. But without getting into that, to really be aligned with that source means that we act from the platform of consciousness. And what does that mean? It means that we understand our true nature to be beyond this body, this mind. And therefore, we're not acting in a way that only serves the body, the mind. Instead of looking for pleasure of the senses and mental pleasures too, we seek to serve from a platform of consciousness. And we honor the same consciousness in all beings. This is to be in alignment. And we suffer, naturally, when we are not, because if we do believe ourselves to be the body and mind primarily, and that we are separate individuals, then we become so lonely. And no matter how much work we put into the body and the mind has always got something going on, so we can never truly be free of some material problem. So as long as we are identified with something material, then we can never truly be whole and peaceful as we can be when we understand our infinite nature beyond the mind and body. Thank you, Karma Cat, for your 20 roses. Well, it feels like 25 to me. You did send 25 gifts with 5 extra fire, so I guess I'm not so wrong with my math skills. As much as I love math, my mental math isn't always that good. And it isn't even 20, it was 30 roses. Ay caramba. Anyway, thank you, Karma Cat. Jai Siddharam. Oh, thank you for listening, Jennifer. And hello, Marlin. Welcome. Bets, you share that you believe that the way you see this world may be completely different and even opposite to somebody else. That's a very humble perspective. And it's true. We all have had very different experiences, but we've all felt very similar things. Like, I might not know what it's like to experience the loss of a child in this life, but I know what it's like to be sad, and I know what it's like to have really intense emotions, so I can imagine what a really intense sadness might be like. But contextually, I have a different experience, so I can only relate on the level of the feeling, but not in the circumstance. In this way, I believe there are parts of everyone's experiences that are the same, but often they come about in different ways. And thank you, Lizzie, for your rose. Hello, Tantatorio. Sensei, you ask, if reason is limited and personal experience is not reliable, what else we need to have? If you are looking for objective truth, then you're right. Our reason will always be limited, and our personal experience might not be intersubjectively verifiable. That's what makes an objective truth, is that it's intersubjectively verifiable. So that I can check in with you and you agree. We can perform tests on opposite sides of the universe. This must be an objective truth. The spiritual path, it goes about things just differently than science, because we're not looking for objective truths. We're not looking for even a truth that you and I can agree in intersubjectively. We're looking for the truth of our own experience. And it just so happens that the conclusion that many people reach is that our deepest subjective truth is the same. Scientifically, it feels like we have an objective world that we're all a part of, but individual consciousnesses. Spirituality flips that hierarchy upside down and says, there's one consciousness that we all experience, but we are diverse in our perspectives on the universe. We all have our own universe, you could say. We discover the truth of our experience by foregoing our intellect, our mind. We forego what can be taught by worldly measures, and we seek to discover what is within our very heart. So there are methods of turning our senses inwards, so that we are not seeing with material eyes, but spiritual eyes. We are not hearing with physical ears, but spiritual ears. That our senses become spiritualized, so that what we are experiencing is no longer limited by our material existence. So we come in contact with the infinite directly, and there can be no room for doubt. And this is the spiritual approach to truth. It is about directly realizing rather than deducing, rather than inferring, there's no guesswork involved. And thank you for your tiny Dr. Ginny, and for your trio of roses. Radhe Radhe. Hello, Alcoholic Jesus. You wish for me to send some good vibes your way as you are going through it. Well, my friend, they are on their way to you already. It's gonna be okay. We have to have trust in ourselves, and that what we're going through is allowed. And no matter how intense our experiences are, you know yourself to be able to persevere. Hold them, let them go. You will make it through this. And thank you, July Moon, for your rosa. Radhe Radhe. Astrophilo, you ask, does objective truth exist? All objects exist in multiple places at the same time. Quantum theory, the distribution of the wave function, superposition. It really depends what you mean by truth. The Sanskrit word for truth literally has no room for objective truth, because satya means that which is permanent also. that the definition for reality in the East is that which cannot be altered in any way. A truth that cannot be changed because none of its components change. That which is universal, eternal. That's truth with a capital T. The reason this definition for truth excludes objective truth is because no object is permanent. Nothing physical can stand the test of time. And therefore, any truth we come up with about the object of reality will also change too. But that doesn't mean we can't find truth objectively. It just means that the truth we do find must be subjective in nature. And, by the way, objective and subjective, these are not words that mean what is real and what is not real. Objective literally means that which is in reference to objects, to the things we experience. And subjective doesn't mean arbitrary. It just means that which is in reference to the subject, the one which is doing the experiencing. Spirituality literally means subjectality, because the spirit is the subject, the one which gets to experience the world by definition. So a spiritual truth is just a subjective truth. But subjective doesn't mean arbitrary. It means what is true for you in your own experience. Austin, you named your new succulent that looks like a tiny yam. Aw. That's really sweet. Thank you for being here, Avery. Bets, you had asked, why do I think people mock and criticize religion and spiritual beliefs? Because what they have been given as a narrative does not match their individual experience. And that's not their fault. For example, when I grew up, I had been told that, God was a man in the sky and that he would punish you if you didn't follow his commands, and he wanted you to suck up to him and worship him, or else. And that narrative just didn't align with my experience. My experience told me that this world is built on peace and humility. Therefore, if there is a God, that God must be very peaceful, very humble, the source. Why would that which is infinite need any kind of worship? So, according to that definition of God, I didn't believe. I criticized religion for that. And as I got older, I realized that I had been given a bad definition. That my definition for God was the problem, rather than God himself. So I needed a better definition for these things. And also I thought spirituality had to do with collecting crystals and putting them in front of the moon and charging them and imagining bright lights, chakras within you. And, tarot cards and whatnot. But eventually I learned that there's just so much more to religion and spirituality than I mistook it for. And after having a good narrative, a good definition that did align with my experience, I started to realize that there is something very real and true about all perspectives, as long as we can go past the surface level impression that we might have got from someone else who only had a surface level impression. So I never judge those who mock or criticize religion or spirituality, because I am one of those people. I simply ended up learning one way or another. I was open enough for my mind to be changed about it, and that's a grace, you know. I don't feel like that was my doing either. I don't feel like it was my effort that was applied on that front. It was a grace. The universe said, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you this experience that you cannot explain, and you will be forced to reconsider. And then I became very humbled by that experience, those sets of experiences, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Chris, for your 5 roses. Thank you, Alcoholic Jesus, for your 5 finger hearts. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Vanessa, thank you for your trio of roses. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. And John F., thank you for your friendship necklace. And Tiny Diney. Yippee! Lando, you're wondering, do I ever think many lost the main idea of religion due to the Kali Yuga, the age of materialism, etc.? Absolutely. I think those phenomena, those experiences seem to be associated with one another. Now, regardless, it's not my place to judge those whom are lost in any way. I'm lost. I'm very lost. But I'm learning to find my own way. I'm learning to find my own truths. And the more I focus on what I can work on, it seems like I become a role model for others who are working on similar things. So the best way to help with the faults we may find in others is to work on those very same faults within ourselves. And we become an example for them. But yeah, this age of darkness predicted in the Hindu cosmology, the Kali Yuga, does seem to explain it, and might take some guilt that we might project on them off of their shoulders and understand that it's just a natural turn of civilization in the last 5,000 years. And hello, little QB. Thank you, Pheromone, for your friendship necklace. Om Namah Shakti Shivaya. And Beth, thank you for your hand hearts. There's some for you too. Radhe Radhe. Oh. TikTok asked you if this was appropriate. Shares little QB. Well, I trust your judgment. Who am I to decide for you? But in any way I can make this space more accommodating for anyone, please let me know. KJ Swan, you ask, can you not judge your neighbor's yard if their own is well taken care of? We can. That is in your capacity, absolutely. But would that help? Would that help us in our journey? Or would it make us feel like we are doing something better than someone else? Unfortunately, a lot of people's happiness comes from feeling like we have something that someone else doesn't. But in fact, it should be the opposite. That if we feel like we have something together that someone else doesn't, what is it that we can share? What is it that we can give to help? Can we mow their lawn? Is it something that we can do for them if they're struggling in other ways? Maybe our neighbor has a disability. Maybe they're struggling with grief. Their mother died. Who knows? They haven't been out of the house. Can we bring them something that makes them feel better? Can we help them in any way? Having this perspective truly helps both you in your spiritual journey and thy neighbor. And I love that, Lando. Maybe it's an opportunity for ourselves to show humility and seva. That's one of the biggest empowerments you can bring to your life, is this point. Because it has empowered my life so much. Whenever there is someone doing something that I may deem wrong in front of me, instead of feeling like it's my purpose to show them what's right, I see it as an opportunity to help them in some way. That maybe they are being inspired by God to do this performance, to see how I act. Do I act from a platform of egoity, that I am holier than thou? Or do I see it as an opportunity to practice patience and humility? Oh, that's very sweet, Miss Candy. Well, I'm only grateful to be surrounded by so many lovely mothers like yourself. Thank you, keeping it real. Marlon, I don't know if this is part 2 of a comment, but you share, and I was going to be punished by God for it. I assume that the first part of the comment didn't come through, because this comment starts with "and," starts with a connector between clauses. Unless I really gotta scroll up, but I'm not finding it. I gotta scroll down. I don't think it came through, but if anyone else can see it, please let me know. Sometimes it doesn't show up on my end. TikTok filters it for whatever reason. But I can say, just on that part of your comment at least, I don't know where this idea of punishment came from God, but it's not something that God does. God is everyone's well-wisher. God only wants everyone to succeed. Sometimes our own actions create their own consequences. That's the law of karma. It's just built into nature, is that we reap what we sow. It's our own energy coming back at us in some way. God only wants there to be a lesson in it. Something to learn, something to grow from. As long as we can do that, there's no punishment. There's tough feelings, difficult circumstances, and challenging moments, that's for sure. But punishment is a very emotionally immature way of teaching someone. And God is the all-mature, the all-emotionally mature one. He should know that people who are punished only become traumatized or insecure because of it. And all-loving God would never do that. Don't worry. Alcoholic Jesus, you share, I don't know, you sow a lot of love, but don't reap much. Well, are you open to love? Are you open to people seeing your vulnerabilities? because that's also required for us to even be receptive of love. Have we closed our heart off from receiving love? Are we afraid of the world? Are we afraid to open up? And does our love have expectations? Does our love have conditions? Because sometimes we love on a condition. And so, when that love comes back to us, it comes back with our own condition. And if we don't fulfill our own condition, then we can't be receptive to it either. So in order to receive unconditional love, we also have to give unconditionally too. Thank you, Bets, for your hearts. Hare Krishna. And Alcoholic Jesus, thank you for your finger heart. There's one for you too. And Amanda, thank you for your community fast. Oh, thank you, Alcoholic Jesus. Candy Cake, you ask a great question. Karma assumes humans have an established sense of good or bad, but we're raised with different views, no? You are very right. And you speak to a subtle point. Karma does not have an established set of actions where you can check according to some rubric. Oh yes, this leads to negative karma, this leads to good karma. Instead, it has everything to do with our intention. That's what decides the karma. Remember, karma is an entirely self-created, self-fulfilled mechanism, which means we are the ones that come up with what gives us suffering and what gives us pleasure anyway. How? All to do with the attachment to the outcome. According to the original scripture on what karma really is, because it has been mistranslated and misused for the last 5,000 years. Are you intending on getting something for yourself out of this action? Then that leads to a negative outcome. Because we cannot control what comes our way, and it's not our purpose. Our sense of self is not meant to be limited to this body, this mind. It's meant to be inclusive to others. So if we are not being inclusive to others, which are a part of our higher self, then naturally we're going to suffer according to our karmas, according to our actions. But if the intention of our action is to serve freely without getting anything just for us in return, then there are not going to be karmic consequences to punish us or anything like that, because we are serving the greater good, the greater whole. We are serving our higher self, quite literally. And we will feel that. Definitely. The word karma means action. Everything we do is an action, therefore everything we do has karma. Whether it leads to a positive outcome or a negative outcome, that's by our own measure. Whether we feel like we are being rewarded or punished is according to our own perspective. And Amanda, an Alcoholic Jesus, thank you. Thank you for your friendship necklace. Merle, you're wondering, do I believe we will be eternally punished? It's a good question. Where has this idea of an eternal afterlife come from? And where does the idea of that afterlife being full of suffering or peace come from too? If we dial back time I believe it comes from the idea of Samsara and Nirvana. Samsara means the cycle of eternal suffering, and Nirvana is the cycle of eternal peace. Or you're free from the cycle, you could say. There's no cycles anymore. There's just peace. This world is simultaneously Samsara and Nirvana. As we keep getting reborn lifetime after lifetime, we live an eternal life, essentially. We can make that into eternal suffering, a hell, depending on how we live this life. We can also make it into an eternal peace, depending on how we live this life also. But, for example, due to oppression, because religion has been used to oppress people, then it has come with this side product of interpreting this eternal suffering or eternal happiness in terms of some permanent residence in hell or heaven. But everything we come to know in our experience teaches us that nothing is permanent. We have highs, we have lows. We can work really hard to go on vacation, but we have to come back. And we can get ourselves into trouble and go to jail. But once we serve our time, we come back in this life or the next. I don't believe in a God that deals out eternal suffering, because that's no God. That's a very human idea, isn't it? That you've done something finite, and thus you deserve something infinite. The universe doesn't work that way. But we can continually work closer and closer to a kind of deep, infinite peace. But there's always deeper we can go. I like that, Merle. You believe he would eternally love us. That makes the most sense, doesn't it? It speaks to the highest good. That's a God I can believe in, absolutely. Alright, Marlon. Yes, feel free to message me or comment if it's unable to get through. I am sorry if I keep missing it. And thank you, PW, for your quartet of roses. Hare Krishna. And John Simon, thank you for your heart me. And Alcoholic Jesus, thank you for your community fest, your rose. And Tiny. Yippee! I do look forward to your communion with your higher self. And Amanda, thank you for your rose. Om Namah Shivaya. Tyler, you share that some humans are cute, but not you. You're ferocious. Sometimes cute things can be ferocious, like a little kitten trying to roar. I think it's really beautiful that most cats can either roar or they can purr. I don't know of any cats that can do both, roar and purr. So it's like kittens, they try to roar and then they figure out, oh wait, I'm not that kind of cat, and then they discover how to purr instead. That's right. I'm one that shares the vibrations of love, not fear. I learned how to purr too. That makes me unable to roar, I guess. Thank you, Shasta, for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Lee B, thank you for your rose. Om Brahm Bhairavaya Namo Namaha. And thank you, Savannah, for your tiny Yahoo! Moral, you also ask, what do I do on a daily basis to bring peace into my life, especially if I'm experiencing a low? When I'm really, really low, all I can really do is pray or chant. You know, when I have no one else around. If there were someone around, I'd try to be of help in some way. You know, I'd give myself some purpose by trying to help them in some way. Feels really good for me to be of help, always. But when no one's around, all I can do is direct that love to the source, you know? Just express my feelings, express how I want to feel. I try to make myself laugh, you know? I look at myself and I go, what a mess. And then I laugh. Oh, I'm such a mess. And then I begin to fall in love with that mess. I say, these are my legs. This is my body. This is my mind. Oh, they're trying their best to serve this consciousness, but I am a difficult person to direct them, to guide them. Having that surrender and humility has brought me from some really hard places. Like 2 nights ago, I had a really hard night 2 nights ago, as I tried to go off my sleep medication. I've been going on a day, off a day. I tried to go off 2 days in a row. My body said, nope, we're going to give you a panic attack. Instead, I said, okay, I guess that's what I'm dealing with tonight. But ultimately what helped me after being anxious for the whole night is 8 in the morning, finally I just kind of surrendered to the experience. And I said, well, I'm a goofball. I put myself in this mess. I thought I could do it, but I have too high expectations for myself. I need to be more realistic. Thank you, Wampa Jellies, for your trio of hand hearts. Here's some for you too. Radhe Radhe. And thank you for your 22 roses as well. Yeah, gotta take smaller steps. Baby steps. Thank you, Miss Candy. Oh. Happy to have you here. You have a feeling that I will thank me. I will thank me. Well, yeah, I hope you're right. I would like to give thanks to myself. That sounds like something good I can do for myself. You just messaged me, Marlon. Oh, thank you for telling me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And thank you, Maya, for your 4 roses. Always a wonderful reminder, Snickers. Surrender every time. Do not resist your emotions. They'll come back stronger until you feel them. Oh, huh? Well, Anna, I hope that you know that I feel you with me always. And if that's reciprocated, then I hope my presence is comforting. Namaste, Dennis. Hello, Jill and Simon Aladdin. And William the Third. Oh, we got a bunch of wonderful people here. Welcome. Was I able to sleep last night? Asked G to Infinity. Yes, I did. I bought a nice sleep supplement, and that helped very nicely. It's a mix of some botanicals and melatonin and L-theanine and something else. Sounds good, Marlon. Thank you for letting me know. Hello V369. I'm happy that you loved my videos. I have privated them to make room for a different approach. And if you're interested in the story, there's a frequently asked questions document in the link tree in my bio, and you're welcome to read there. Savannah, you share that passion flower tea helps. Oh, lovely. Thank you for that recommendation too. Jill, you're wondering if I have lobsters in Washington. I don't know. I don't live in Washington. But I don't think we have lobsters where I live either. That feels like an Atlantic thing. I don't know. We have crabs. We have crabs. Thank you, Libby, for your campfire too. Jai Sitaram. And Jill, thank you for your finger heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And thank you, V369. That's right, Raccoon. I live in Canada. And Wampa Chilies, thank you for your trio of finger hearts. There's a trio for you. And Alcoholic Jesus, thank you for your finger heart. And trio of roses. And for excusing my hiccup. Om Namah Shivaya. You're going to try to make the comment again. Well, go for it, Marlon. And thank you, Lydia, for your rose. Someone asked, where in Canada? Libby, you asked. I live in one of the most southern parts of Canada, which is Vancouver Island. It's actually closer to Seattle than it is Vancouver. And it's the only subtropical biome in Canada. We have palm trees here. It's very lovely. Palm trees and green flora all throughout the year. It's very nice and warm. I think it really only snows once a year, one day, and then after a few days it's gone. That was our whole snowfall. Some years it just doesn't snow at all here, which is fun. Thank you, Lydia, for your ginger man. Radhe Radhe. Tyler, you share that your girlfriend lives in Toronto. So culturally diverse and nice. It's a very culturally diverse country, yeah. You live in Ontario, Toronto too, Libby. I love that. I always forget which one's the city and which one's the province. Is Toronto the city and Ontario the province? I forget. My Canadian geography is not very good. I feel like I'm in my own country sometimes. Toronto is the city. Oh, good. Here I am embarrassing everyone else. What's the capital city? Ottawa. That's right. Merle, you ask, can we talk about abundance and how to tap into it? Abundance is a mindset. Abundance just is really a synonym for gratitude. That instead of desiring for anything more in our life, we become grateful for all that we have. Some people are scared to do this. I know I was, because I thought, well, if I send the intention out that I'm grateful, then the universe isn't going to help me anymore. But I've discovered the universe works in exactly that way, that the more we become grateful for what we have, then the universe goes, oh, this person loves what we send them, give them more. If we ask for nothing, then the universe goes, my goodness, they deserve everything. It's a beautiful paradox. Ottawa is the capital of Canada, and Toronto is the capital of Ontario. Thank you, my fellow Canadian. I see. I see what you've had to do to get this comment to come through, Marlon. You share that growing up Catholic, you were taught that sex before marriage was a punishable sin by God. That makes sense relative to your other comment that did get through. Yeah, how does that make you feel? Never disregard your own feelings in this matter. Your feelings are also given by God. If you feel like it doesn't make sense to you, then there's probably a reason for that. Yes, sex is a very sacred thing, and it is best to have it with someone that you love and trust completely, someone that you're committed to. But if you're able to have that trust and vulnerability with someone else before such a commitment as marriage comes, if it comes at all, then I see no problem in exploring yourself, exploring your own body. Without sex, we wouldn't be here, and there's many beautiful souls that would not have come into existence without premarital explorations of sexuality, myself included. In fact, I was the best man to my own parents' weddings and the ring bearer, and that's an honor. I don't judge my parents for not being married before I was born. In fact, what a blessing to witness my own parents marry. That's such a beautiful experience. That's so rare and a treasure. How could I think anything less than that, Now, because sex is one of the biggest drives, it can sometimes cross other people's boundaries. And if anything is worthy of punishment, it's when we extract that pleasure from someone without consent. Even then, it's the consequences of their own actions that's doing the so-called punishment. But that doesn't mean that we should view sex as something evil, just because people can go into it for that selfish purpose, as long as everyone involved is consenting, as long as everyone is trusting, as long as it's not an extraction of happiness from another, but an expression of it, then that intimacy can be very beautiful. And in fact, it might even lead you closer to the divine if you're able to reach that moment where there's such a clear personality within all of existence, all of creation. That's why we call the act procreation. We are proceeding in our ability to give life to this world. Marlon, you share, you were always scared, but now it doesn't scare you. I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah. There are many perspectives we can have for God, and I encourage you to believe in the one that makes the most sense to you. If I know anything about the source of all things, is that the source is the source of all things. It is known by many names, by many people, through many perspectives. That infinite has no ID card which says, this is how you should know me and no other way. That source says, however you wish to see me, that I am to thee. There's no driver's license that says, actually, you have to call me this and do this and that. Infinite completion, the singularity, the unified essence of the multiverse. There's only love and wholeness there. And that's a wonderful point, Redhead Rage. Most of the restrictions in sexuality have social and historical reasons that no longer apply. And thank you, Sue, for your ice cream a minute ago. Radhe o Radhe. And thank you, Hanukkah, for your heart mate. Om Namah Shivaya, welcome. I hope your healing journey has been fruitful for you. And Caitlin, thank you for your garland headpiece. Hare Krishna. I love that, John. What makes sense to you is, if fear is created, it's not of God or source. Fear is a very human thing, isn't it? It's true. But we have used fear in many ways throughout its debut. It used to refer to the feeling of awe, you know. If you were fearsome or fearful, it's like something being awesome or awful. There's just a fullness of some awe of that experience where we really feel part of a greater whole. But nowadays, fear is used in terms of, you know, a question of whether you are going to be happy or not, which is out of the question. And I love that, Auntie. You share that one of your favorite quotes is, "I am everything and everything is me." It reminds me of a quote by Rumi, the mystic poet, that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. And good night, Sasha, if you're still here. Otherwise, I send my good night wishes in your direction. Finding bliss, you're wondering if I can speak on dreaming. Sure. Have you ever noticed that in a dream, there are still things to see, things to hear, maybe even things to taste or smell or feel? That all of your senses continue working in your dream, even though your ears are not listening to the world. Your eyes are closed, your mouth is closed, there might be no sense in your room. But you have this full sensual experience, even in a dream. How can we see without our eyes? How can we hear without our ears, taste without our tongue, smell without our nose, feel without our skin? It must mean that these senses are not dependent on our physical body. This led ancient yogis to realize that we really have multiple levels of our being. There's a physical body, yes, but there's a subtle body that has its own way of seeing, of hearing, of smelling, of tasting, of touching in our dreams. And we have a causal body in that too. So if you really believe that you are the body, because this is where you get to see and hear and taste and smell and touch, you can do all those things without a body. The proof of it is in your dream. And I love that quote, Karma Cat. Wisdom is knowing I am nothing. Love is knowing I am everything. And between these two, my life moves. From Nisargadatta Maharaj. Where is Tattvamasi? A devotee. And thank you, John F., for your finger heart and 18 cloud breads. Here's a finger heart for you too, my friend. Jai Satchitanandam. And thank you, Kent and Lisa, for your community fast. Hare Krishna. Hanukkah, You shared that healing is slow and you still have pain, but the doctor was satisfied and said healing could take 3 months. I'm so happy that you are getting proper treatment. Are you feeling better? And yes, that's right, Miss Abby. We are in the backyard. You know, I just realized I don't think I need this umbrella, which was blocking the sun so that my phone didn't overheat. Ooh. There are some wind chimes above me. See, I can't be inside because then I'd be giving myself bad luck by this umbrella opening. I'm sure that changes the lighting too. Marl, you ask, do I think the soul could live multiple lives at once? And we experience them in our dreams? I love that. I don't think I have a comment on that. I know that Lao Tzu had a quote that said, at night I'm a man dreaming I'm a butterfly. And in the morning, I'm a butterfly dreaming that I'm a man. And the guy, yes, things are getting better, but your intestines are not yet working as they should. Well, I'm not laughing at your inability to have working intestines, but it's a funny sentence. And I really hope that they do get better. And thank you for all your positivity, even amidst all the pain that you're going through. That's funny, Abby. We're so used to artificial lighting that sometimes natural lighting doesn't seem real. I notice this sometimes when I'm looking at the sky. I think if someone were to paint this, it would look like a painting. But it definitely wouldn't look real. And here I am looking at it. Or sometimes I look at people and I think, man, these people look like cartoon characters a little bit. That if someone were to draw them, you'd think, wow, they had a terrible time drawing them. But no, that's how they look like. I'm referring to myself, really. And hello, Tommy. How am I doing today? Spiritually. Well, spiritually, today contains this moment, and in the moment I am always well. Annika, is it a funny sentence? Didn't you write it okay? Oh yes, don't worry, I'm not laughing at you. It's my own broken sense of humor. I think intestines are a funny word in general. But your English was perfect. I love these ideas, Moral. Or what if our dreams are even past lives? It's beautiful. I like your curiosity of dreams. And thank you, Hybrid Jen, for your rose. I heard that you were having difficulty sending stickers the other day. I wanted to let you know that no one was restricting your stickers, so it must be some filtering or glitch on TikTok's part. Yeah. I don't even think I have the ability to remove messages. Let me try. Let me try to remove one of your messages. No. Not even I have that power. Abby, you're wondering, do I have any advice on how to develop your inner self, thus to be able to build more social connections? I love the way you put that. Our inner self, remember, is the same inner self in everyone. It's one of the funniest things. Our inner self, just another term for our higher self, the Paramatma, the highest self, is the same in all beings. Deep down, you and I are the same. Our outer self, or our lower self, our individual self, very different. I have a different body. I have a different mind than you. You have different talents, knowledge bases. There's beautiful diversity in our experiences. But the same self in me, that same sense of I am here to experience the universe. I am here for the universe to experience me. I am consciousness. That's the same in me. And if you can see someone as their Atman, their true self, as you recognize yourself to be, then you've already connected at the deepest level. We only just have to follow that up with connecting at the surface level. If you see them for who they are, they already feel like they know you back. Haven't you noticed? When someone is able to see you as you are, you feel seen by them at the deepest level. You just feel like you know them already. Connection comes easy. And when you are able to see others for how they are, their true self, just pure consciousness, vibrating in this pattern, then they feel like they already know you. They go, did we meet before? Where do I know you from? Yes, I love that, Abby. Some people have open gates. Maybe we are using words in different ways. By consciousness, I am referring to the purest essence. We have different minds, and sometimes we use consciousness as an interchangeable word for the mind. We have absolutely different minds. We have different states of mind, different memories, different talents, different beliefs. But the consciousness, we need a good definition for consciousness. Then it becomes evident that we have the same consciousness. That is the all-containing experience of this universe. Like the space in which we exist. We all share the same space. Yeah, those kinds of sentiments, hybrid gen. You feel familiar. Do I know you? I swear I know you from somewhere. Aw, thank you for being here, Karma Cat. I love having you here. You get that a lot, J.A. You always felt like they seen you in a piece of themselves they recognized. We can become a mirror for the innermost being within everyone else. Now, speaking of Rumi a few minutes ago in his poem, why don't we read a poem from Rumi? So everyone, make your heart nice and roomy for some Sufi poetry. This will be a short interim. Yes, Eli, it is a sock. Not just any sock. Let's read this poem called You Are an I. Since you have perceived the dust of forms, perceive the wind that moves them. Since you have perceived the foam, perceive the ocean of creative energy. Come, perceive it, for in you insight is all that matters. The rest is just fat and flesh. a weft of warp of bones and muscles. Your fat never increased the light in candles. Your flesh never became roast meat. For someone drunk with spiritual wine dissolve this whole body of yours in vision. Pass into sight, pass into sight, pass into sight. One sight perceives only 2 yards ahead. Another sight has beheld the 2 worlds and the face of the king. Between these 2 is an incalculable difference. Seek the remedy of vision, and God best knows that which is hidden. You Are an I by Rumi. Thank you for listening. Oh, Hanaka, you are so polite. It's okay. There is nothing wrong with the word choice you did. Please don't take it personally. By funny, I don't mean that you've done anything wrong whatsoever. You've given me joy. And I love the way you express yourself, you put things. Don't worry. Hello, Claude. How am I? In autumn. Who's autumn? Who is in autumn? I'm very much in summer, thank you. No, I don't want it to be autumn yet. I'm doing well, though. Thank you, Hybrid Jen, for your Discord love and applause. I have an applause for you. People are so excited whenever you walk in a room. In their heart, they go like this. Thank you. Ragnhildur, thank you for your trio of roses, too. I always misplace my ding-dings. My manjira. How do I do this? I'm always fiddling with them. That's the problem. When we're unconsciously doing something, we leave it in a place that we won't consciously remember either. And Ragnhildur, thank you for your trio of roses. I just thanked you twice. I guess my gratitude is twice as prevalent today. Mr. J, thank you for your 10 cloud breads, your 10 roses, and your 20 fires. Radhe, Radhe. HSHH, you're wondering, how do I find my purpose? You know, that's very relevant to the question of the day. So why don't I ask all of you? Let's explore this question together. I'm wondering from you, what gives you the most purpose in life? I would like to begin wrapping things up soon anyway. So this will be a penultimate segment for us before we land the plane. Ja, you share creation. I like that. Claude, you share your purpose is a porpoise fly. A porpoise fly? Do they do that? Having little lives to watch over, shares Hybrid Gen. Well, you are a wonderful mother for that. And Tail, you share, you think it's the positive connections with humans that you can't put into words. I love that. Mr. J, you share to enjoy time. I like that. Tyler, you share watching your kids grow into loving humans. Aww. The Sydney Marie, you share being able to offer others compassion gives you purpose. And Or you have a petition for me to put my list of salutations and their meanings somewhere. I could put that in my link tree in my... Actually, I already do. It's in the frequently asked questions page. There's a section on what they mean. But I could expand that list. And Enes, you share back then, it was fulfilling your potential and giving as much as you can to the people you love most. That's beautiful. Kayla, you share lessening suffering however you are able. Powerful. Abby, you share, you think it's just fate, man. I don't know, man. You just give trust in the universe, man. Okay, I may have added one more man to the end of that. Surrendering to the will of the universe. Jacqueline, you share, for you, it is to be as independent as you can in many aspects. I like that. What does being independent mean? It means that you are a source of your own self. You give without needing anything in return. Karma Cat, you share love and joy, also truth. John F., you share caring for lives of all. It's beautiful. Aniki, you share, you've got it. You could have said belly. Well, that is a cuter word. I agree with you there. Or you could say your tummy also. But intestines, they work too. In fact, they're very descript. Oh. Do I hear... I think I hear the ice cream truck in the distance. Well, I really got to wrap things up if I'm able to get an ice cream. We'll see. I don't mind either way. God is love. You share to be the love in people's lives. And Amanda, you share taking care of your mind and body. I love that. Oh, you've come a long way, Amanda. I remember when you were making jokes about macaroni and cheese. Helping others, shares Bella. Tyler, you're wondering, what's the best way for you to read or watch my philosophies after this live? Well, I don't really have philosophies myself, but I do upload the recording of all these lives to my YouTube channel, Yamsox Lives, which I believe is the first link in the link tree in my bio. Claude, you share that your purpose is a circus. Hey, that even rhymes, doesn't it? Circus of purpose. That's great. NK, you shared trying to find as much peace in the present moment as possible is your purpose right now, you guess. I like that. Aurora, you share experiencing the awkward choreography that is humanity. I love that. Kat, you share learning and growing to become the best version of yourself you can be, so you can give back to all with love. I love that. Oh, thank you, loving vegans, for your ice cream cone. Oh, you've all gotten ice cream for me, I guess. John F., you sent 15 ice cream cones. And Karma Cat, thank you for your 20. You were all very kind. There you go. You fill me with such sweetness. I don't need anything more than that. And thank you, Kat, for your paper crane. I believe I brought a paper crane with me outside today. So I can give you one in return. And thank you, Inevitable, for your trio of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Alright, we've got a lot of wonderful answers. I'll do some rapid fire. Andy, you share, knowing that your existence makes a difference in others is a beautiful joy you have. Thank you, Ali Sho. Annika, you share connecting with people, sharing the fun, meeting each other. Gina, you share taking care of all your loved ones, love them with all your heart. Orla, you share that you really think it's love that gives your life purpose. if you look for the broadest lens. Love is the broadest of all lenses, isn't it? Ragnhildur, you share when you can be of help to someone to heal emotional pain. D, you share the sun comes up tomorrow. That keeps you connected. I like that. Ice cream truck is your purpose now. Marcy, your answer to the question of the day is you like sealing. It makes your heart go fast. Sealing. What is sealing? S-E-A-L-I-N-G. Sealing. Being a seal? Or is it being on the ceiling? I believe you sometimes eat so many gummies, I'm sure you're probably jumping off the ceiling too. Stealing? You love stealing? Marcy. Makes your heart go fast. Well, I hope you steal other people's hearts. That you can steal. Anything else is not yours to steal. Thank you, Gina, for your heart me. Radhe, Radhe. And Hanukkah, thank you for your team bracelet. And you share how your kindness can change the trajectory of someone's day. How did I make that crane, asks Andy. Well, one of you sent me instructions for it. Keys, I believe their name is. They sent me an email with instructions, and so I made one. Do you share you keep living just in case someone is happy? You live. It's not selfish. You just hold on. That's beautiful. You have such a good memory, Marcy. Hari, that which steals the hearts of all Paramahansas. Alright, forgive me if I didn't read everyone's answer. I'm sure we could talk about purpose for a long, long time, and I hope that answers the question that inspired this. How we can find purpose. Now I'd like to end today's Sangha with a reading. This may just be the very last reading we do of this book, since we've finished all the chapters. There's only an afterword left from In Love, at Ease, Everyday Spirituality with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. And the author, Yogi, has tentatively agreed to allow me an hour of his time to interview him, perhaps sometimes next week, in between his PhD dissertation. He's very busy. In fact, he's normally being interviewed by news organizations worldwide, and so he even shut down his social media accounts to really focus on his PhD. And for whatever reason, he's made an exception for us, for this Sangha. Just a random live on TikTok. And that's really humbling. So if you have any questions you want me to ask Yogi, please let me know. You can think of them as we're reading this book. Kaylee, you would ask Yogi if he ever disagreed with the Guru, and what was the disagreement? I like that. And you know what? I'll write that down. Oh, where did I bring here? We'll do some ASMR. I'm just going to write it on the back of this. Alright. Haneke, you're wondering, am I going to meet a yogi? Or you don't understand it right? Good point. The author's name is Yogi. That's actually his name. His first name is Yogi. That's funny, Orla. Alright, today we are reading, I guess it's kind of the final chapter, but it's really the afterword called Not Alone. The mischievous sunlight streaming in from the large windows danced off the white couches and the even whiter floor tiles. Yet I felt dark and gloomy on the inside. Exactly 1 year after Swami Shri had passed on, I was at an airport lounge in Cairo awaiting my flight back to New York. A part of me was looking forward to autumn in the city, Broadway shows, warm cappuccinos on a park bench, disappointing October playoff baseball with the Yankees, and a walk on a nippy night by the Hudson River. Another part of me did not want to leave Egypt. My time exploring the North African nation was rewarding, but I was more attracted to the idea of moving than I was to staying in Egypt. My time exploring the North African nation. Did I just read that sentence? I did. Sorry. Something from within compelled me to take off for somewhere else, for elsewhere, as soon as I landed in New York, not because I had somewhere specific to be, but because I did not want to stop running. One often runs when one does not know how to stand still, how to be alone and at ease with one's thoughts. I was still running from the idea of forever being away from my guru. The last year had been difficult. Pramukh Swami Maharaj had left his mortal body on the 13th of August 2016. Mahant Swami Maharaj, his successor, had seamlessly transitioned into the role of president and spiritual guru of the community. Several religious leaders and Indian politicians had directly reached out to me anticipating a power struggle or at least a rocky transition over several months. Would the masses accept a new, reserved, elderly guru in place of a charismatic one who was so deeply loved and admired by 3 generations over the last 65 years? Hello, Ash. They did, and with ease. At a personal level, it was easy for me to accept the new guru, but I felt lost for another reason. Towards the last years of Swami Shri's life, I had turned to Mahant Swami for spiritual advice and comfort. He graciously accepted the role of a spiritual mentor and guide within my life. He often reminded me that he knew me since when I was but 5, and that he was my friend before anything else. It was the sign of another humanly divine guru who could teach, play with, love, and serve God's creation. As Swami Shri's successor, Mahant Swami Maharaj had become equally occupied with the spiritual and administrative duties of the community, and thus difficult to access. I could not just walk into his room like I used to, and understandably so. For the first time in my life, I felt as if I was without my guru, my mentor, and now one of my closest friends. I felt lonely, especially so on the 1-year anniversary of the passing away of my guru. In Cairo, I was physically distanced from the community. I was not with bhaktas or sadhus, devotees and monks, which made the loneliness all the more pronounced. I was not with anyone who even knew of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Or so I thought. Every time I felt alone and distanced from my guru, I watched an 8-minute video titled Timeless Tribute, dedicated to Pramukh Swami Maharaj. I found solace in watching the different ways in which he interacted with the divine through its creation. I experienced an entire gamut of emotions. I could smile, reflect, laugh, and cry, all at once. A few minutes into the video, my smile turned into a soft sob, and I began to cry. I tried to wipe my tears and regain my composure, but it was useless. I was, however, conscious of watching a video of a saffron-clad Hindu monk and crying my heart out in an unfamiliar, predominantly Islamic country. I did not want to offend or attract too much attention. It was then that I noticed someone standing over my shoulder and watching the video with me. I saw a tall, burly, elderly man clad in a dishdasha, which are white robes worn by Emiratis. He was bent over, squinting his eyes and staring at my phone. He had tears in his eyes too. By now, the entire lounge was staring at the both of us, wiping our eyes together. "I am sorry, sir. Is this bothering you? I can watch it later." The elderly Sheikh put his hands on my shoulder and asked if he could sit with me. "Son, I remember meeting this fakir," which means ascetic, sadhu, once in Sharjah in 1985. He was visiting the home of one of my neighbors and business associates. I attended as a formality, but something about him compelled me to sit with him. He did not just seem Hindu or Indian to me. Something about his aura rose above our differences. He asked if I prayed 5 times a day. He also asked about my family, business, and my marriage. I was going through a rough patch with my wife and asked him what to do. His brief and straightforward advice saved my marriage and my children's future. "Sheikh Sahib, treat and respect to others as you would like to be treated. Forgive their mistakes just in the way you would like to have yours forgiven. Al-Malik, God, lives within all of us, including your wife." His advice spoke to me because it seemed as if he lived it. I promised myself that I would put in the effort to make my marriage work. I spoke to my wife that night about my meeting with the fakir. Though she never met him face to face, we both feel his presence with us on good days and bad days. I was surprised. Swami Shri was in this Emirati Sheikh's heart and home too. I asked him why he was crying while watching the movie with me. "When I saw you crying, I walked over to see if you were okay." I could not hold it in either after seeing his familiar face. I assumed that you were crying because you missed him. "Can I still meet him? My marriage, my family, and my children thrived because of a Hindu fakir I had only met once for a few minutes." I told him that Swami Shri had passed away exactly a year ago today. He leaned over and held my hands in his large palms. "Son, tell me something about him that I do not know. I feel as if he were here with us today." I told him about Swami Shri's special power to love and serve, to make someone feel wanted. Sheikh, he loved in ways that helped others learn. "Do you have time?" I shared with him the 3 personal incidents that I recounted earlier in this book before sharing one of our last lengthy phone conversations. I was in Ahmedabad creating online content for the community. Swami Shri had been in Gujarati for several months now, but I had not managed to go for his darshan during his stay in the villages of Bauchasan or Sarangpur. He had noticed. It was about 8:30 p.m. I had just finished dinner with the monks and was sitting with my mentor, Ishvaracharanda Swami, in his room. My phone rang. I silenced it without looking. It rang again and again. Some of you might remember these are words from an earlier part of this book. I glanced at my phone to see it was a call from Swami Shri's personal attendant, Dharmacharya Swami. I picked up. Swami Shri was on the other end. Jai Swami Narayan Yogi, I have been thinking of you. It has been several months since I have seen you. Are you okay? Where are you? I am in Ahmedabad, Swami Shri, with Ishvarachananda Swami. Swami Shri continued. Ishvar Swami was in Bochasan a few days ago for the Guru Purnima festival. When I did not see you with them, I realized that I needed to call you. Ahmedabad is not that far from Bochasan or Sarangpur. I have been there. I have been here for 3 months. Why haven't you come to see me? You did not visit your Guru on Guru Purnima. Were you mad at me? Offended? Kai ochu avyu che? I know we did not get to spend as much time together. In Mumbai, please do not take to heart the restrictions and those who enforce them. They are trying to keep me healthy. I have told them several times that meeting bhaktas and satisfying them will keep me healthy. They are doing what they think is best. Besides, we have spent so much time together. You can relive those moments for the rest of your years. No, each one in a different city, country, and memory. I was astonished that Swami Shri had noticed my absence among the tens of thousands at the festival. Swami Shri, I am not offended or upset with you or anyone else. What right do I have? You are my Guru. I have just been writing. Please stop apologizing to me. I do not deserve it. You have done so my whole life. In that case, come for darshan. There will come a time when darshan may not be possible, when a viewing presence is not possible. Your Bappa, Father, Swami Shri, won't be around forever. Live these moments so that you can relive them later. Again, I am sorry, Yogi, if you felt alone when you were in Mumbai. Please forgive me. I apologize on behalf of all those safeguarding my health and schedule. But remember, our connection is personal. It is beyond facilitators. This is the story he was relating to the Sheikh Sahib. I started to cry, Sheikh Sahib. This was the 4th time my Guru was apologizing to me. And for what? Because I had failed to go for his darshan on the day that disciples venerate their Gurus in the Hindu tradition? Because I needed to work on my ego and expectations? I continued to weep silently on the phone, and a few seconds later I could hear Swami Shri gently sniffle. Both of us, Guru and disciple, teared up together. Let's pause our reading of In Love at Ease for now. I think we can sneak in one more part as we conclude next time with the Afterword. So I thank you for listening. And did I forget to have the cover showing? I think I did. Okay, it has come and it has gone. Good night, dear Chloe. Brody's boy, I saw you share that your really close buddy passed away in a car accident last night. Was 17. You're so lost. I am sorry to hear that. As it is so fresh, I am sure there are many things that are still coming to the surface. Many emotions. feeling lost is completely understandable. Though there's nothing I can say that can bring him back, all I can be here for is you. And in any way I can hear you out and validate how you're feeling during this time, I would be honored for that. My direct messages on any other platform are always open, and especially for you during this time. So if you ever wish to confide in me, please feel free to do so. I am sure that there's going to be a lot of grief, and that's okay, because grief will help you process this new transition. Though your friend may have lost their body, you have not been lost in the love they have given you. As a friend, they live on through you. What other platforms do I use where you can reach out? All of them are linked in the link tree in my bio. You'll find social media icons for Instagram or Telegram or WhatsApp. All of those platforms, I respond to my messages daily. But my heart goes out to you and your friend, Hunter. And you are a good friend. Nothing can change that. And thank you everyone else for listening as we read from In Love at Ease. Thank you for those who sent a gift while we were reading. Like Ash. Thank you for your hat and mustache. And your tiny yippee. Thank you, Hybrid Jen, for your heart me and trio of cheer you ups. Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Marcy, for your rose, ice cream cone, TikTok, cloud bread, finger heart and rose. Jai Sita Rama. And thank you, Hybrid Jen, for another disco love. Thank you, Hanukkah, for your team bracelet. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And Gabriella, thank you for your heart me. Om Krim Kalikaye Namaha. I look forward to your message, Hunter. And Jacqueline, thank you for your finger heart too. Had to clear my throat for that yippee. Oh, make a wish, everyone, shares G. The full moon is intense and lovely right now. Aw, I don't know where it is. I don't think it's arisen for me yet. Normally it's behind you all. Now with that, we have come to the close of our Sangha tonight. So I'm very happy for you in being here. I'm very grateful that we got to share this space together. I hope that you are able to allow yourself to continue feeling peaceful if you found any of it here. Thank you for providing a full moon for us, HSH. And thank you for sending your love, G to infinity. Much love to all of you. And Hanukkah, you found out that Google Translation gets the pronunciation of your name right. Well, that's the first thing I'm going to do after I'm done this live. So I'm going to find out how to pronounce your lovely name, finally. Regardless if it's your morning, your afternoon, your evening, or your night, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. The recording of this live will be uploaded to Yamsox Lives, the YouTube channel linked in the link tree in my bio. Aw, I like your Shadow and Sandy stickers, Marcy. I'll give them some forehead kisses for you. Good night, dear Amanda. There are other alternatives in the link tree in my bio in case YouTube doesn't work for you. And there are clips, like our readings that are uploaded there in dedicated playlists. May this live stream be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. May you all have a beautiful rest of your present moment. Namaste.